Well, Gary, here we are again. It's that time of the season already. The World Championship coming up thick and fast. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel okay. Just basically in sort of practice mode again after the tour championship. Just gonna just be trying to prepare as best I can and not playing too much and sort of hammering it too much every day. But yeah, just maybe play the odd games with a few people and just get in the club on my own a good few times as well and play for a few solid hours, and just try and get me game in a position where I'm going to the Crucible feeling happy about what I'm doing. Yeah.
Just keeping everything ticking along.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've got stuff to work on. I wasn't happy with my game last week. Um, didn't feel very good at all, really. So I'm just going to be trying to find something maybe a little bit without changing anything too drastically. Or I've been trying to keep consistent as I can lately. So without really changing stuff, just try and find that little bit where I can go into the Crucible, as I say, happy, where I feel like my game's okay and I don't need to mess around with anything. Yeah.
Well, you say that you might have liked to have played a little bit better than you thought you did last week, but nevertheless, you're off the back of a semi-final and three good, hard-earned best of 19s under your belt. So you must be feeling good in that regard and sharp.
Uh, Not really, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously, I'm happy with the results. I'm happy to get through, and obviously, semi-final, I would have taken that in a sense, the way I was kind of feeling. That's the positives, I suppose. But the way I was actually feeling in the matches and the way I actually played for the majority of them, it wasn't very good. I was a little bit sort of lucky that Mark Selby and Zhang Anda didn't really play their games neither. So I sort of took advantage of that, I would say, rather than actually played really well myself and sort of deserve to win on that side of things. I more kind of just deserve to win maybe on the fact that I just battled hard and played maybe that little bit better than my opponents. So that doesn't last. That doesn't get you through a lot of matches and tournaments. Not the way the standard is today and the way the game is. You've got to at some stage turn up. You've got to play. You've got to play well. You've got to feel like you can play well. You've got to sort of play towards your potential. Otherwise, someone's going to come along who's playing great and beat you. And this is obviously coming up with the most important tournament of the season. So I want to feel like I'm going into it, as I say, prepared, feeling like my game's in good shape, and just feeling confident. That's the main thing. If I go in feeling confident, that means I feel my game is in decent shape, and that as long as I play okay on the day and as I say, feel confident, then I'll fancy the job. That's all you really want to do going into a game. You can never guarantee winning. You can never guarantee what's going to happen. Really, obviously you've got no control over what your opponent's going to do. You can only try and go in and just feel as best you can about your own game, and that's my goal, as it would be for any tournament, really. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But you are going into the Crucible off the back of another decent season and a couple of trophies under your belt.
Yeah, obviously on that front, it's been amazing to get a couple of tournament wins. So yeah, just always in the back of my head, trying to carry that sort of inner confidence forward, that inner experience of having done that, and you always just try and take them sort of positives, I guess, into any tournament now, knowing what you are capable of and what you have actually proved and done. So yeah, that'll be there, hopefully in the back of my head, as I say, even if I am struggling a bit, that things can turn. I've shown that can happen. If I'm struggling, I can still go on and win a few games, and if things do turn, then possibly win a few games when you're actually playing well. So yeah, as I say, just all you can really do and all you can control is be prepared as best you can and go in feeling confident.
Well, exactly. But that's a sign of where you're at the moment and where you've progressed to. The fact that you're having times where you're not necessarily playing as you'd like to, but you're still managing to get really good results.
Maybe, as I say, last week more than anything, though, I would say. So may have been a bit more of a one-off. As I say, my opponents didn't really turn up, as well as what we all know they can. Ronnie was okay. Obviously, he wasn't too happy with his performance earlier on. Neither was I. Towards the end, though, he showed his class. He started finding something, and like it was. I was just a bit unfortunate that he found a great burst at the very end, but barring that sort of tournament, really, if you look at the season critically as a player, I've had obviously a couple of tournament wins, which is tremendous. But other than that, I've had a lot of sort of first round defeats, some bad results, and some bad performances. And generally, as I say, if you do turn up and you do play not very well or pretty bad, you're going to get beat, and that's what's happened to us in a lot of the other tournaments. So I don't want that. Really, no one does. You don't expect to win tournaments every season necessarily, or multiple events every season, but you do try and half expect yourself to play with some kind of consistency. That doesn't mean playing brilliantly all the time. It just means playing to a pretty decent level most of the time. I haven't done that, and that's what I want to do moving forward. Even after this World Championships, just go into next season and feel like my game's at a place where I'm comfortable enough with it now that I can't really drop below a certain level, and then you wouldn't sort of get the bad results that I've maybe had in it spells earlier on in the season where I've really underperformed, and in fairness, yeah, the odd players played quite well against us, but if I'd played somewhere near my normal kind of game, I probably still would have just scraped through them games, and that's what you've got to do if you want to be consistent and you want to be a top player.
So you're looking to be a little bit more consistent next season, but as things stand, you're going to be doing so with a really good platform to build on. Up to 10th in the world, your highest ever world ranking. So you'll be in good shape in that regard, won't you? And looking forward.
Yeah, and that's the positives, that's brilliant. Obviously, with all the things I feel I still want to try and improve on a little bit. Because I've had these tournament wins and I've had a couple of good results in other tournaments as well. It's pushed me ranking further up, and I'm in the 16 now. And yeah, so it's sort of like I can try and work on and try and improve myself even a little bit more while being in the strong position that I'm in, which is great. Yeah. It gets you into an extra couple of tournaments, having won the tournaments I've won. Obviously, Champion of Champions. You'll have the Shanghai Masters again coming up. Yeah, so it's all positive in that sense. Yeah, it's just now honestly about me in myself, just trying to feel better about my game, and hopefully things just keep progressing the way they are. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And there's no better place to conclude the season than at the Crucible and a scene of some very good memories for yourself. What can you tell me about some of those?
Yeah, it's a place I've always enjoyed going to ever since my debut in 2017. When I played Ronnie the first time, you never know. Obviously, when you first play there, how you're going to feel, how you're going to take it. Could be one of these players you think that, oh, I'm going to hate it and I crumble, or I might really enjoy it. Then I really enjoyed it, thankfully, and had a decent game with Ronnie. And ever since then, when I got back again a couple of years later, that was when I had a really good run to the semi-finals, and yeah, same again. I had the same feelings as that first time round where I just really enjoyed playing there and actually played some decent stuff in that run. Um, since then, still enjoyed being there a couple of times, but only won the odd game. So just looking to try and have a good run again. Obviously, really, I guess, but yeah, just trying to go there this year. Obviously, again for the second time as a seed, just to try and have a good run. I want to obviously get through, a good couple of games if I can, and try and get really right into the meat of the tournament and see if I can do at least what I did, 5 years ago. Get back to the one table setup, I guess, is a big goal of mine. So yeah, just looking forward to it.
Well, exactly. And the fact that you've done that before, the fact you've got experience of getting to the one table setup before, that stands you in really good stead, doesn't it?
It can do, I guess, yeah, because any kind of experience like that in any tournament, then the next time you get there to that stage or whatever, then it's not new. It's just like you maybe you're not going to lose the odd couple of frames that you would have lost before just because everything was a little bit new and maybe a little bit more daunting or whatever. It's that'll then come as sort of like, "Oh, I've been here before, so let's just get on with it," kind of thing. So the more you can get of that in your career as you're moving forward, then everything becomes that little bit easier more and more.
Well, exactly. And how do you feel going into the Crucible this year compared to how you have in previous years? How does it differ this time around?
Trying trying to think how I really felt the last couple of times. Not too dissimilar, to be honest. Obviously, other than, I mean, last year it was like I'd won the Scottish last year, so I was already a tournament winner. But I had a pretty drastic sort of run up until the World Championships, I think, from what I can remember. This time around, I've had a lot more sort of match practice. I've been a bit more involved in the tournaments. Yes, I've missed out on a couple. I missed out on Germany. I missed out on China, but I've been, quite decently involved in sort of like the Grand Prix and obviously winning the Welsh, and being in the Players Championship and the Tour Championship for the first time. So I've had quite a bit of match practice, I would say, this season leading into it. So I'm not necessarily feeling much better about my game, but I feel like I can be, if that makes sense. I feel like it's there somewhere now, whereas maybe the last few times I'm hoping it's there. I know it's there somewhere. I've just not sort of showed it the last couple of weeks, maybe. So as I say, the practice time now from now up until the Worlds, it'll be quite key just to try and, as I say, find what I think's there and just try and bring it out a bit more. Yeah.
But it sounds really positive as a whole, the fact you go in there with a couple of trophies already under your belt and you feel like you can only improve and get better, and the fact that you've got that good platform to build on. So you've got reason to be optimistic, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, you've got to be. It's at the end of the day. I've said this a lot. You're not really playing your opponent in this game. You're just playing yourself and the table. So yeah, as I said before, it sort of sounding a bit like a dog with a bone, but like, yeah, you've just got to turn up prepared, and you've just got to turn up and feel confident and happy with what you're doing in your game. Forget everything else; it's irrelevant. It's all about what you do on that day and how you feel. Your opponent you can't control. If they play really well, fair play to them. You've got to try and keep up with them, and that's why you've got to be well prepared. If they struggle and you're playing decent, you should win. So yeah, I'm just going to go into it and try and, as I say, be as positive as I can. If things aren't quite working out, then I know that I can still scrape through games and get through games. Try and forget about being embarrassed if that comes across. Just this. I'd rather be embarrassed in the next round than embarrassed and sitting at home. So these are the sorts of things you just got to sometimes keep telling yourself and hope that it turns around. But yeah, like I say, I hope I go in not having to even think that way. I hope I'm going in playing well and confident and just enjoy the experience. It's tough to do that sometimes in any tournament, I think, especially for myself. If you're not playing very well, it's tough to enjoy. And sometimes you just want a bit more enjoyment. You want to go into games feeling content and just enjoy the game. So yeah, all them kind of positive things I'll be hoping to take in.
Well, fingers crossed that is the case. And I've got to ask you, I know that, as the same with all of you, it's very much one ball at a time, one frame at a time, you never look too far ahead, but ultimately, you're in it to win it. So what would it mean to you if you were to go all the way?
Oh, it'd be absolutely amazing. Obviously, a lifelong dream of any snooker player, is to win this one. So yeah, and if I was to do it this year, it would just top off an absolutely amazing season. It's been a great season, obviously. However you look at it, all the things I've complained and whinged and wanted to improve on myself throughout the season, like in terms of the bad results and stuff and the lack of consistency. At the end of the day, I've had a couple of tournament wins, which not many players are doing. So yeah, if I was to top that off with a World Championship as well, absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, I'd have a good holiday if that happened.